Good Sunday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Ryan Hoke with today's edition of the Hokey video blog. Hope your Valentine's Day is off to a good start so far. If you have plans for this afternoon and the evening, you'll want to be careful out there because conditions are going to change rather quickly as we go throughout the day thanks to a big Arctic front moving in. We'll talk about that in terms of temperature, wind, and snow showers in just a second. Let's talk about first today's Hokey weather fact, and we're talking about the fact that Antarctica is actually colder than the Arctic. And the reason for this is because Antarctica is a continent. The Arctic, the North Pole, just a big ice sheet essentially on top of the Arctic Ocean. So you've got some of those slightly warmer temperatures from the ocean there, and that's why it's a little warmer in the Arctic. Why it's a little colder in Antarctica is, one, it's a continent instead of that ocean, and two, there's more elevation. The average elevation of Antarctica is around 7,500 feet. So you've got that adding to the cold air down there as well. So you learned something new this morning on today's Hokey weather fact. From our SkyTrack camera, you're seeing how it is a gloomy morning out there. A few breaks in the clouds off to our south now, but pretty much everything's filling in at this point ahead of this big Arctic front. Temperatures, not that bad, really. I mean, we're talking about mid-30s just off to our west in Madisonville. Here in Metro Louisville, sitting at 32 degrees, and outside the city, pretty close to that as well. On the Doppler radar, though, you're noticing a few of these little snow showers begin to filter into our northwestern counties. That's going to be the trend as we go throughout the morning as this front approaches. It's moving through pretty quickly at this point, so I think by midday or so, we'll certainly be seeing some snow falling here around Metro Louisville. And don't be surprised if you have some reduced visibilities as well, because you can see here on the regional view that, I mean, these snow showers right here, they're pretty fast moving, and they're just a little bit heavy as well as they move down toward the south and east. I don't think we're going to see heavy accumulations, but the snow will be coming down heavy for a very brief period of time. By the way, this area of low pressure that you see up here, this is going to be the next big storm for the Northeast, and they could even have another one behind this one. It's just one after another for folks up in Boston who have already felt way too much snow. But this Arctic blast for us, as it comes through, will be dropping temperatures pretty handily as we go throughout the afternoon, and especially this evening. Let's show it to you on Futurecast by 11 o'clock. Snow filtering into our northwestern counties, as it's already starting to do just a little bit now. We're still in the mid-30s here in Louisville. I think that's when our high temperature occurs, is around 11 or so. I've got us pegged at a 35-degree high reading today. We'll see how that pans out. Otherwise, look at this. Front moves through. We get a burst of snow in here, and then we get these little finger-like snow showers moving through. These are snow squalls, and basically what this is the cold air moving in, starting to squeeze the moisture out of the atmosphere. A lot of wind with this as well. This is where we could see those gusts up to 35 miles per hour is during this time, this afternoon at around 4 o'clock, as these continue to move through our southern counties. The snow machine shuts off as we go throughout tonight. By 9 o'clock, I think most of us will be snow-free, but the temperatures, man, 15 degrees here in the city with wind chills below zero by that time. By tomorrow morning, I've got us down to a high of 8 degrees here in the city. The record low is 3, by the way. I don't think we'll hit that, but wind chills will be 5 degrees below zero. It's going to feel very cold if you're headed out early to Sunday services. By 7:30 tomorrow, though, I think we'll be back in the teens, and certainly after a day around 20 degrees, that's not going to be too pleasant out there, especially because we've been spoiled, especially last weekend. Yeah, you remember that, when we were up in the 50s and the 60s? I don't think we've got that in the forecast anytime soon. So here's how it runs down for this afternoon. Snow showers move through, wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour. Reduced visibilities may create an issue. The snow accumulations themselves, not a huge deal. Mainly less than an inch of snow, probably a coating across Kentucky. And as you move eastward, though, on I-64, basically Shelbyville eastward toward Lexington, there may be an inch or just a tad more than that. They get some of the elevation out there that likes to enhance some of these snow showers. And also, the main disturbance causing these snow showers will be pivoting, basically, from southwest Ohio through eastern Kentucky. So they're going to have some enhancement from that as well. So they've got a couple of factors leading to enhanced snow totals. By the way, snow ratios today, probably 15-20 to 1, thanks to some of the cold air moving in. So when it snows right at 32 degrees, a 10 to 1 snow ratio, but it's these 20s, and eventually the teens move in. If we have any snow showers left, those would be the higher snow ratios that we would see. Let's talk about this system coming up for I mean, there's multiple pieces of this, really. To call it one system probably wouldn't be right, but for all intents and purposes, let's treat this as one system with multiple parts. So as we go throughout Sunday night into Monday, this is going to be the first part of this system here. You see it Monday at 11:30 p.m. as it's moving through Tennessee. Notice where that snow line is. It's basically along the Tennessee border down here. At this point, I still think it's too early to call if we will get snow out of this or not. Most of the models painting the snow across Tennessee, northern Alabama, north Mississippi at this point, because this air is so cold and this Arctic high is so powerful, it's pushing the low down to our south. But we talked about multiple pieces. So the first piece, if it's weaker, the one coming through Sunday night, which would be tomorrow night, if it's weaker than anticipated, that could possibly allow the second piece coming through on Tuesday to be stronger and thus a little bit farther north. We'll have to see how that goes. At this point, I've kept our snow chances pretty low because there's no data that's really supporting that at this time, other than the NAM, which doesn't really go out far enough to see this, but it's got the setup for more of a stronger second wave moving through on Tuesday. It's just a nightmare, really, to forecast this kind of scenario when you've got multiple moving parts, as well as the big blizzard in the Northeast. That's going to factor into it as well. If we can get this thing out of here sooner than later, it might allow this to cut north a little bit. So we're not calling for an accumulating snow in our area this time. We do have a chance, a small one, for some snow basically south of Louisville at this point. I know it's getting pretty close to time here when it comes to a snow forecast. So at this point, we're keeping it to the south with the thought in mind that it could cut north if we do see some changes in that track there. Here's how it goes on the NAM model. Here's what we see for today. Notice how snow totals are below a half inch for this afternoon. Well, it's not really factoring in those snow ratios so much, so I think it could be a little closer to an inch than that. But notice how it's got that snow, the heavier snow, just south of our counties, really, south of Adair. And this is on the NAM model by 3:30 p.m. on Tuesday. After that point, of course the NAM can't see out far enough yet. It may try to jet northward just based on that setup that we talked about. Very complicated setup at this point. So, we're going to be transparent with this and forthright with you over the next few days as we see things change, and we'll try to communicate that to you the best we can. I know it's difficult. The best place to get the weather changes, of course, wave3.com on our weather page, and of course our weather blog as well. Hey, we've also got this too, the Wave 3 weather app. We update this by hand, and it's the same stuff that you see on TV in terms of numbers, snow chances, all the goodies right in there as well. So multiple ways to keep updated on this if things should go north, as it were, a little bit. Otherwise, here's how temperatures work. We've got this cold blast coming in today. That's what you see here, of course, on the 15th. Get a little bit of moderation, but it's just still flat cold as we go throughout Monday, and then that system pivots on through to the east. That's why we do see that little warm-up, is because that low's kind of drawing in some slightly warmer air. But we've got another Arctic blast coming, and this is going to be for Wednesday into Thursday. And this one's interesting because I think this has the potential to be even more powerful than what we're seeing today. I've got a low temperature of 7 degrees on Thursday morning. We'll have to see how that works out. Low temperature is, of course, a function of wind and cold air. So if we can get the wind to calm down and the cold air to be in place, that's when we could see those really low temperatures. I've also got another system we're tracking as we go throughout next week, probably around Friday or so. I've got a 20% chance of snow in there. Way too early to call because we've got several more systems to kind of pivot through the area that will affect the track of this one. So we're not even really going to talk about it at this point, other than the fact that we've got something on the charts for it. Otherwise, as we go throughout Sunday, we've got those small snow chances, 30% on Sunday, Monday, 20% on Tuesday. I've done the 30% on Sunday and Monday for that first wave moving through. The second one, that's a little less sure. It could be a 20% chance. We may end up having to lower the Sunday, Monday chance a little bit more now that new data is coming in and it's starting to show more of a coalescence of sorts, of a snow total, snow accumulation down to our south across Tennessee. But obviously, this is not an easy forecast, folks, and we're definitely going to be trying to keep you updated with it as we go throughout the next several days. Brian Good, he is in tonight on this Valentine's Day. Hope you get out there with your sweetheart to a nice lunch or dinner today, and definitely use some caution out there on the roadways due to the snow showers and the low visibilities. I'll see you tomorrow morning.